Hello, welcome to the Citrus Garden. If you're new here, my name is Christina. If you're not new here, hi, welcome back. It's great to see you. This is a collective reading. There are no signs attached to it, so only take it if it resonates with you within the first couple of minutes. Always use your discernment with this kind of thing. So, I was just getting one message before we start. It's just one phrase, and it's a strange welcome. A strange welcome. So I don't know if you're welcoming something into your energy or if you're being welcomed into some other energy, but we're gonna see what comes out with that phrase. I was just hearing a strange welcome. We'll see how that plays out. There's a book called Strange the Dreamer, which might have a download for you if you are interested in fantasy novels. Strange the Dreamer, I believe it is 2 books, a duology. So anyways, a strange welcome. That might come into the reading or not. We'll see. I'm gonna pull the cards out. Undressing of a Salad, which is an interesting card. This card sometimes talks about accomplishing something impossible, is that usually what I get with this card, which could also feel like you're balancing a lot of things, and maybe there are some things being lost, and it's kind of just like allow those things to sort of pass by is how it's coming through, because it could be that the universe is freeing up space for something new to come in, right? A strange welcome. Hold on, I want to see what that card says. So accomplishing something that is seemingly impossible. I feel like also maybe like sorting through things, or like let's say you go to like a really busy environment or something like that, and it's kind of I kind of see this sometimes as being like the universe sort of like puts things directly in your path that you might need, right? It's that kind of thing. Anyways, so it says balance, avoiding extremes, achieving the impossible, being impossible. So things are in motion, and the outcome is impossible to predict. A cool head is required to deal with this, as is a readiness to jump in whatever direction seems appropriate. Exercise cool judgment while staying ready for the unpredictable. Sudden changes of fortune may appear, good or bad, but they are in flux and can be rechanneled if necessary. Develop poise, stay calm. You can come out a winner here, but it is likely to take concentrated effort. Use power with delicacy and discretion. Yeah, so I feel like there is sort of this energy of like, there are a lot of things shifting, but it's kind of like you have support here in accomplishing something really significant. It does require you to sort of like remain grounded though in your energy. The Dark Lady. I am gonna read part of that because I'm not sure exactly what she's coming through with today. Usually it has something to do with like, okay, it's coming through with mysteries and secrets. Okay, we may reach the realm of the Dark Lady through grief, through deep surrender, through ecstasy, or through profound ritual. This card in a reading suggests that it is time to withdraw from the ordinary world and revitalize ourselves through retreat and surrender to the source. unity, and the song of ecstasis. It is the time of preparation for rebirth or restoration and regeneration. What is hidden is getting ready to be revealed. Celebrate this passage through the unknown, rich, fertile, hidden realms of the Dark Lady. This is the time in the natural cycle of life when we open ourselves to and receive the inflowing energies of Himself, when we become powerful, overflowing with the life force. It may also be a time of prophecy, magic, and foretelling of the potentials of the future, a time of self-awareness, self-knowledge, and encounters with the hidden world. Meditate, retreat, seek serenity and inner peace. So you may be experiencing something like retreat. Well, it's interesting because I when I received that message, a strange welcome, I was just driving in my car. I just wanted to get away from sort of like the crowds and all of that, just that energy in general. So I went driving just on my own, sort of like in the country roads just north of where I live. And that is sort of coming through, like maybe you're needing to withdraw from something ordinary, right? Like it's kind of like whatever is coming in for you feels very strange. It doesn't feel like something that is like, perhaps you can't describe it, or you don't know exactly what may be happening, or like, especially if you have any sort of like dreams or visions, or through meditation or getting downloads, any sort of those kinds of experiences, it may be that you are connecting with something that, like, you're seeing a different perspective of, I don't know, maybe you're just seeing something from somebody else's perspective. It could be something like that. Or just like strange alignments is what I just heard. Like, perhaps you're aligning with something that's very strange, and that doesn't have to be a good or a bad thing. Again, it's not good or bad, is kind of how it's coming through. I feel like that also just depends on your perspective as well. Most likely it's going to be a bit of both, right? Because of the balancing energy. It most likely is going to be a bit of both. The beaver card. That card talks to me about like emotional comfort. The dragon. That is the solar plexus energy. But also, as I was saying with like the thing about seeing something, or perhaps even like experiencing something that is not from your perspective. Like, it's almost kind of coming through as being like perhaps you are seeing something that's hidden, or that was hidden, and you're kind of like seeing the truth of it, is how it's feeling to me. But it could be coming through very strangely, is just how I'm gonna put it. I don't know how else to say that. Something that feels impossible, right? Like, it feels like impossible in whatever way. There's so many like, I feel like impossible just means like it hasn't been discovered or studied yet or confirmed by official channels, right? Like that kind of thing. So the dragon says, seeing one's most true self, balancing the ego. The dragon sees everything. Its essence has been with us since before our first breath and will be there at our last. It watches us navigate the external world as well as our inner world. When dragon energy is awakened, we are courageous, visionary, and can easily drop into witness consciousness. It is almost as if we are traveling with a great friend inside of ourselves. When we look in the mirror, deep into our eyes, we may even glimpse the self behind the self, the one who is watching us. This is the power of the dragon breathing transformative fire into every cell of our bodies. Witnessing this omnipotent energy, even for a brief moment, helps us surrender and let go. We let the dragon guide us. We hop on its back for a ride, and as we traverse even the most difficult terrain, the dragon's eyes see beauty everywhere. It is said that if a yogi doesn't... Is that how you say it? Yogi does not see beauty in the world, their Agni is dim. Agni is described as inner fire or sacred intelligence. May even just the mention of the dragon stir the embers of intelligence within you. So yeah, this is the sacral chakra. It's kind of asking, especially with the beaver, because this to me is like an earth and water energy of so to me it represents like home, emotional comfort, like where you feel the most safe and comfortable. And I feel like there's something about like within that space. Something is being welcomed. I don't know. Hard worker, loyal, tireless, family first. The beaver personality is a welcome sight. There's that word again. These good-natured and dependable creatures have infinite love and enthusiasm for family and express it by way of the earth element, providing a home, financial stability. Although a beaver doesn't usually initiate a project, once started, they'll work steadily for weeks, months, or years to see it through. The beaver card appears when the task at hand requires your long-term, steady effort. It can also signify that it's time for some karma yoga, selfless service. So happy, meaningful work, which is so interesting. So it's looking to me like because you're in this energy of being sort of like this stable, comforting energy that's accomplishing, like undressing of the salad to me, that card represents just sort of like getting all of your stuff done. It kind of feels like there's like a lot to do still, but it's like you're doing it as productively and as well as you can. Even if it feels like maybe there's like things that are being dropped or like things that are not going perfectly, it's like it's going perfectly. That's what it's going through as. And because of that energy that you're in, it's like there's something here that's very strange perhaps coming in. Again, I'm just using that word because that's what the word that I was given. But that doesn't have to be a bad thing or a scary thing. I feel like in fact it's not a scary thing. Oh, okay, I keep just dropping a whole bunch of cards. It may be just something that is not what you're used to. Let's just phrase it like that. Perhaps just like not what you're used to. Or it's like very clearly like not interesting. So you have here the shaman, the hunter, and the shadow. And the forest at the bottom of the deck. Because the forest is sort of like this energy of like strange things happening. Perhaps the show Stranger Things has some sort of message in there for you. The shaman is also an energy of something that you like an archetype that you do find in the forest, right? So the forest can talk about like a feeling of like being lost or perhaps like confused or perhaps even frightened. I'm not even gonna lie about that because the forest card whenever I, like, this one especially out of all my decks reminds me of like the Forbidden Forest in Harry Potter, where it's like there are friends and foes within the forest, right? There are, because I was also getting kind of this energy of like a unicorn, which in this deck talks about the third eye, right? Like seeing some sort of vision that feels impossible again. Let's bring it back down to something a bit more grounded is kind of how it's coming through, because it's kind of just like the forest can be a very confusing place, right? The hunter in the shadow is something that I feel like, okay, that was weird. Because I'm getting kind of like the hunter as being sort of like, in Snow White, in Snow White, where like at the beginning of the story, of course it like, there are different versions of it, but it's coming through as being sort of like the hunter who was sent to kill Snow White from the evil stepmother or whatever, but actually ends up like saving her and letting her go, that kind of thing. Well, that's interesting. So it's kind of coming through as being like friend or foe, but it's wanting to say that this is a friend, but it feels kind of like it's a friend, but it feels like perhaps with the shadow energy, there's something about like it might not feel that way because of the shadow, which I've been talking about a lot in the last couple of weeks. The shadow is something that protects us, right? Like, so there could be a perception of fear, and the shadow might be activated because of that, because it's an energy of fear, right? But it's trying to reassure you that this is sort of like a friend, even though it's coming through as being sort of like the hunter, which is interesting. Okay, anyways, the hunter also brings in Sagittarius energy, so keep that in mind. The unspeakable, the unwelcome, the denied. Although every card in the Archetypes decks has a shadow potential, this card asks us to delve into the qualities of the shadow itself. We often think that the shadow can be purified, illuminated, and made right through effort and achievement. However, it is typically the case that our lofty pursuit of ascension and perfection is the very source of shadow material itself. By rejecting parts of ourselves and the world, we begin to separate from the whole. Rather than getting to know the qualities and content of our shadow, we busy ourselves with avoiding its presence. This is denial. When the card appears, it is time to take inventory of those things you've been denying. When the mind responds with no, anything but that, you are touching shadow. Find support for this deep inner work and move towards the shadow with patience and compassion. So it is revealing unconscious aspects of the self and the world. So we need to look at the hunter energy. The shaman talks about a bridge between spiritual and physical, which is interesting. So there may be sort of things happening in your physical life that are reflecting almost like the arrival of this new energy. I feel like that it's kind of like there's the hunter energy is what's coming towards you, is how it's coming through, and you may be seeing signs of it, but it's kind of like the shadow may be activated just because it is something that so there may be fear associated with it, or just like the shadow being activated, which could feel like being triggered by something, or like whatever that is. And it's important not to like deny those aspects of yourself, right? It's kind of like coming through as being like, surround yourself with like more love is how it's coming through. Like, accept the parts of you that feel afraid with this energy, because that is meant to be protective. Anyways, the seeker, the pursuer, the predator. The hunter hunts. They are on a precise mission with an aim. To return home empty-handed would be to fail, which is not an option in the hunter's eye. This archetype will journey far and wide, seeking the prize that calls to its heart or stomach. Tales of bravery and feats of strength often result, creating a life full of adventure. The hunter is skillful, quick, decisive, and results-oriented. Like the great hunting goddess Artemis, who carries her quiver upon her back, the hunter typically has a weapon of choice. When this card appears, it is critical that you ask 3 questions. What am I hunting? Why am I hunting it? Is the weapon I hold so tightly in my grip truly needed for the task at hand? So I am going to read just like the dark aspects of the hunter because this came out together, which is why it's trying to, like, I feel like that might be sort of like something that causes fear, which is irresponsible, violates, violent, and poaching, right? So like those might be anyways, those might be sort of like that might be how it is activated in a fear sense, right? Anyways, there's something here about the predator honors its prey with a precise and skillful hunt. The hunter deeply reveres the life it aims to take. I'm just going to leave that like that. Again, it's feeling like it's not anything to fear, right? But because it's coming in like with such a powerful energy, like perhaps a very feminine energy here, the Dark Lady and the dragon, that's very intense. Could have Scorpio somewhere in their chart because the Dark Lady does come in with that. But we're starting off with the Lovers. That's a good sign. I feel like that's a good sign. I feel like someone is making so perhaps you are making a choice to do that. Perhaps this is a choice that you are making here with the King of Swords as well. The needle and the thread is coming in as being like someone who's very precise as well. Didn't I say that with the hunter? Their energy is very precise. I don't know what that... I'm not exactly sure how that relates to whatever it is. Like, why is this person coming into your life? 8 of Pentacles. It's coming through with a physical manifestation of something. Perhaps they're assisting you with some sort of like physical manifestation that you're trying to accomplish. I know that this reading is feeling like very, for me personally, it's feeling very strange, but I'm being guided to like, let's bring it down to earth for a minute. It could be that you're like doing some sort of project on your home or something with the beaver, right? Like some sort of project, or like perhaps you have to fix something in your home is how it's coming through. Anyways, and so you call like a contractor or like somebody who has that particular skill, so they come over to fix whatever is wrong, right? Like something like that. But it's like, so perhaps it's a feminine energy, but they're very precise. I don't know why that's coming through like that. Okay, the difference between precision and accuracy, right? There's something about that as well. This one is right on the money, is kind of how it's coming through. About something. Almost frightening is how it's going through. Okay, 5 of Pentacles. Interesting. Because you also have here the hummingbird at the bottom of the animals deck. Because I'm actually kind of seeing this as being like, so it doesn't have to be something with like your home or something. You may actually even be going to see somebody who's like a shaman, or like has like some sort of spiritual gift to like detect something. I don't know. 8 of Pentacles and 5 of Pentacles. This is coming through as being like, it's almost coming through like this, whatever this energy here is with the flower. It's like, it feels like that's something that needs to be looked at in whatever way. It's kind of like, this is whatever is like broken in the house, metaphorically, right? Like whatever it is that needs attention or fixing or however it is. And it's like it's almost like this one is it's kind of coming through as like, you know, those like the dogs that sniff out sort of like whatever contraband and that kind of thing. It's like the dog, the dog, in this case this butterfly, is like sniffing out exactly where the problem is. It doesn't feel like something that is being hidden. It feels like something that somebody wasn't seeing about either like their home or whatever. Could be physically or not. Five of Pentacles as well. This one always reminds me of like Beauty and the Beast, right? Like that, the flower that's in sort of like the case. And that to me talks about like somebody who is maybe like losing hope on something. But it's also coming through with like, again, with Beauty and the Beast, with that energy of, I don't know. I guess I would call her a shaman. In the beginning of Beauty and the Beast, who like comes to the Beast castle, right? To ask for food because he has so much. And then there's sort of like, it feels kind of like maybe there was somebody like left out in the cold of something. That's too many cards. There's 5 of them. I'm not going to take them. The Lovers, though. What is the Lovers? It feels like someone's making a choice to commit to something. Queen of Wands. I love this card so much. Interesting, because that's... So I always see this card as being like a beacon. But it does require you to sort of like Follow her lead is kind of how it's coming through. So it may be, like, this might be sort of like the stranger energy. But I don't want to call her a stranger. This one is always a friend to me, this Queen of Wands. She is always a friend. Like, there's something about, like, because sometimes I see this card as being, like, someone who leads the way through something, right? It's like you can trust their guidance. You can trust that whatever it is that they are, wherever it is that they're leading you. Because, again, with the Hunter, right? Again, with a Sagittarius energy is coming through here. There's something about, like, they're leading you through the forest is how it's coming through now, right? They're like a guide through the forest is how that feels. But it's kind of like, it's strange to you, perhaps. It just feels like it's not something that you're familiar with, or, why is it strange? Ten of Pentacles. Sometimes this energy talks to me about, like, deception, actually, or, like, it's not quite deception, but it's this energy of, like, being hypnotized or, like, drawn into something that is not what it seems, right? Like, that's sort of what I get with this energy. There's a Percy Jackson series. It's like a kid's series, fantasy as well, but because of all this, like, Greek god kind of energy coming through with the Hunter, there's this one scene, and I think it's like the first Percy Jackson book, where it's like they go into, like, this casino that is run by Hades. And it's like, once you enter there, it's like everything in that casino was designed to make people stay. It's like they fell asleep when they went there. It's kind of coming through like that, where it's like there's somebody, or there's, like, perhaps that's the forest energy, right? It's like having to go through a landscape where, like, it's like a casino where everybody just falls asleep as soon as they're in there. Like that, it's that kind of energy. But there's, like, perhaps a guide coming through as being like, okay, this is how we get through this. This is, like, don't eat any of the food. Don't touch anything. Don't play any of the games. Definitely do not eat any of the food. That's just how it's coming through. Two of Pentacles. Okay, it's kind of like the floor is lava. That's what's going through it. That's such a silly metaphor, but I feel like that's the point. It's almost like the floor is lava, right? Like, don't touch the floor. It's like that's like how you get through it. It's almost like an obstacle course now that's coming through. But also, like, trying to keep you, like, focused on balancing something, right? This is more of that energy of, like, the undressing the salad. It's something about it's like keeping your eye focused on the goal, and now my ear is ringing. Focused on the goal of what it is that you're trying to move through. Because it's almost like the floor is lava, metaphorically, right? It's just kind of like there are certain stones which are safe to step on, and there are some that are not. And it's kind of like having to avoid the avoid the slot machines was just what I heard there. Metaphorically, of course. I feel like there's more energy there, but it's almost like you have to pass through it, is how it's coming through to me. It's like, I don't know if this is you, or like it feels off to say you. It feels like we, right? It's kind of like we have to go through something like that. Eight of Wands. Perhaps you're already there, is how it's coming through. Perhaps you're here in this Two of Pentacles energy, and it's kind of like balancing something, right? With the undressing of the salad. It's like you're here balancing something, trying not to touch the floor, which is lava. But it's like there's perhaps something coming in here with the Eight of Wands of like communication, or something to like help put wind in your sails, is how that's coming through. Like to lift you up from whatever it is, because it's almost like it's almost like here with the Two of Pentacles, like what she's holding here. It's like activated by wind, is how it's coming through. Like it's like there hasn't been any wind for the last whatever. So this one's sort of been stuck here, is kind of how it's feeling. But all of a sudden there's a gust of wind that activates whatever it was that this one was waiting for, and it's like lift off. That's what it's coming through with the Eight of Wands. That's really interesting. So perhaps there's some, if you have been waiting for something, it's like it's kind of like you have enough balloons now to like lift off, right? Getting like the movie Up. Nine of Cups. That's really interesting. This almost looks like a fan that is made of bones. I've never seen that in that card before. Like, think of like a fan, right? Like, which is also something that like causes wind in some way. Made of bones though. What is that? Nine of Cups. Six of Pentacles. The Sun. The Emperor. Eight of Swords at the bottom of the deck. Is that Nine of Cups? What is that Nine of Cups? Yeah, King of Cups. Okay. This King of Cups. Interesting. I feel like that is... Okay, while I was driving, I saw this tree. It was such a beautiful tree. But it was growing around the electrical line, so that the way that they had cut it, like out of the foliage was just like this hole in the middle of the tree. It almost looked like a donut tree. Like, that's how I would describe it. And it like made me really sad, actually, when I saw that. I was like, what? Like, the way that the tree was growing around the electrical lines, like it's like it should not be there. That's what I'm seeing in this card here. And it's coming out to clarify this 9 of Cups, which is talking about, to me, like, perhaps somebody who is, like, some sort of appearance of, like, being fine, when perhaps there's something, like, missing with the King of Cups, because this card talks about, like, a void energy, like it's like there's some sort of metaphorical electrical wire that's, like, impeding the growth of the tree. It's like the tree's growing around it in some way. With the 6 of Pentacles, this card talks to me about, like, it's more of like a 6 of Cups energy just because of the teapot. And sometimes it talks to me about, like, sadness, or, like, sharing sadness with a friend or something like that. Might not be sadness. It doesn't have to be sadness in this case. It's just the way that it's coming out with the King of Cups and the 9 of Cups. It's emotional in some way, right? There's emotional energy that's being shared, is how that's coming through. And it's like, especially with the scales and these cups, it's like to, like, balance something. It's kind of coming through like, if you've ever had, like, when you, like, see your friend cry, it, like, makes you cry as well. Like, it kind of feels like that. That's interesting. I feel like I've lost the thread of the story here, but hopefully it's still making sense. I don't know if this is, like, again, like a... Okay, so it's feeling like maybe part of the 5 of Pentacles energy, right? So it could be that there's somebody's asking for guidance of, like, okay, there's some sort of thing that I'm needing help with, right? Metaphorically, it was coming through as, like, part of the house needs fixing, whatever that is. And it's, like, part of what the shaman is sniffing out, metaphorically, is that there's some sort of energy in the space where it's like somebody who perhaps feels like there's, like, 9 of Cups, right? Like, everything's fine. They have some sort of emotional stability or satisfaction, but it's like they're really in a King of Cups energy, which is like there's something missing here emotionally. And it's also feeling kind of like, it looks like the way that the tree is growing around the electrical wires, right? It's like there's something missing right in that center part. And it kind of feels like especially if that person shares, like, physical space with you, it's like with the 6 of Pentacles, this card talks about, like, it... Okay. The metaphor that's coming in here is kind of like the way that water moves through, like, membranes and things like that. So it's kind of like through osmosis or whatever it is. It's like Water will move through the membrane, right? And the flow will be from wherever there's a lot of water into the place where there's less water. So it's kind of like maybe there's somebody in the space who has a lot of emotional energy that is not being expressed in whatever way that is. Because it's like, it's with the King of Cups, this one to me talks about like, it's difficult emotion, it's sadness, it's grief, it's that kind of thing. But it's like, but perhaps there's like, with the Nine of Cups, they don't show that, is how it's coming through. And so, but what happens energetically, especially if this person is in your space, it's like if you are fine, let's say, or if like emotionally you're okay, or whatever it is, it's kind of like the water will move towards you because your like cup is not as full, if that makes, and I'm saying that more so in terms of like sadness, like you're not as sad as whoever that is or whatever. However this is coming through, I hope this is resonating. It's like the water just flows towards you naturally, just based on like energy is how that's feeling to me. So it's kind of like you can't touch the lava. That sounds ridiculous, but I'm just gonna go with that. It's like there's maybe somebody in your space who has so much emotional energy that it just flows out to wherever there's space, is how that's coming through, right? Water or liquid, or in this case, it feels like emotional energy just flows out to wherever there is space to fill, is how that's coming through. And it's feeling like that's not, it may be, like it's almost like you have to be so far above wherever it is that this person is, so that it doesn't affect you, right? It's like you can't touch the floor because it's flooded. Like that, it's that kind of energy. I hope that makes sense. Anyways, if you're in that situation, I feel like there's like something here about like getting the wind back in your sails. Like it's almost like the wind is helping to put wind in your sails so that you can move somewhere else or something like that, because you have the Emperor and the Sun coming out next, right? Last, I should say. It's kind of like there's an energy here of like trying to move you out of a place away from whatever that sort of like emotional overflow is how that's feeling to me. Interesting, because it's also feeling like, again, like it's almost like somebody's leading you out of the forest, is how that's feeling. And it's kind of like the way that the shadow is coming through here is that like perhaps somebody was like protecting their emotions, like because they were in a place where the emotions were just like, it's just a constant storm. And so the shadow might be sort of activated still, because it's like, I don't want to deal with like those emotions. But in this case, it feels like it's positive, right? It's feeling like Eight of Wands, like, interesting, because this is fire and air. So it's like there's some sort of energy here that is like making something lighter, is how it's coming through. Okay. The Eight of Wands. Hold on. I feel like someone might be having doubts about this. Like it's kind of like the shadow is causing doubts, or the forest environment resistance and trust. Yeah, I feel like there is some there is some resistance, but I feel like it's like just trust wherever it is that you're being led is how it's coming through. Trust your intuition. Your logical mind will protest because it wants a guarantee. It wants to know that it's making the right decision and acting on the right information. In our black and white world, we often look at life far too simplistically. Everything is either good or bad, up or down, positive or negative, right or wrong. But life is much more nuanced than that. And the resistance card. You don't need to change everything all at once. It's much better to move forward gently, step by step. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. I hope that resonated with you. If it did, please like, subscribe, leave a comment. I would love to hear from you. Thank you for sharing your energy with me, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.